Astrology of the Family Tree. Created, directed, and presented by Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen. In this video, Dr. Mullen will talk about associations between ancestors and yourself, looking at the family tree and its implications for the energies in which you received as you came into this life.
This is Dickie Joe Mullen with the astrology of the family tree, your horoscope and heredity. Have you ever noticed that relatives often share a birthday? There will be a whole bunch of birthday celebrations, say in the month of June, or there was one famous Ripley's Believe It or Not entry with a woman who had had 4 sons, all born on Christmas Day. You don't think that's coincidence, do you? Well, astrologically, we can often see many correlations between the birth chart and family traits, or the astrology of heredity. It's easiest if the actual days of birth are the same or within a couple of days, but often we can look at the moon signs, the ascendant, and even aspects in the horoscope to see the correlations between birthdays. And with so much interest in Ancestry.com and heredity and DNA now being so prevalent, bringing the astrological element into that whole sort of a study and mix is incredibly intriguing and revealing. Recently, I had an Aries mother, a lively lady in her early 40s, come to me with questions for a consultation. Her concerns were popular topics: her 2 children, ages 18 and 20 years of age. Now, as an Aries, this mother was ruled by the planet Mars, and my client's sun sign, the birth sign that everybody knows, showed that the sun is a Virgo. However, he had the sun in Virgo exactly conjunct his Mars, while the daughter, who was born under the birth sign of Cancer, had her sun conjunct Mars in Cancer. So we could see the planet of energy, initiative, and challenges overshadowing the 2 charts tremendously and reflecting this enterprising mother's energy in this single mom. The Aries lady owns a real estate firm, which she made a success of despite having very little formal education, and the daughter won a scholarship to a major university as a varsity swimmer. Cancer's a water sign. So we could see the real estate with the mother's interest in Aries. It's ruled by the sign of Cancer. The Cancer rules the water, and yet there was vitality and energy with the Mars. The Virgo sun is gifted in electronics and mechanical interests, and although the Cancer and Virgo traits show in the individual sun sign, the technology and the drive to move forward ties in with the Mars conjunct the sun. Genetics and astrology. This example is really the rule rather than the exception in comparing the horoscopes of family members, which is very, very popular. So many people who come for an astrological consultation are interested in that. You do have to have the whole birth chart with the birth time to determine the ascendant and the month, day, and year to get the moon. The moon represents emotions, family life, the emotional memories of the soul, and the ascendant is the physical self to get the whole picture. The sun, moon, and ascendant, also called the rising sign, are the primary things we consider in genetics and astrology. Sometimes the similarities go with a subtle aspect. In my own family, the women in each generation always have the sun conjunct Uranus. but it's in a different sign. Uranus takes over 80 years to go around the sun, stays in each birth sign about 7 years. So the Uranus signs wouldn't usually be the same unless we're looking at grandparent dynamics. But I have the Sun conjunct Uranus in Cancer, the sign of the crab. My mother had it in Aquarius, and one grandmother had the Sun conjunct Uranus in Sagittarius. And so we can kind of see the time there. Another example, a group of family horoscopes might show a stellium. That means a grouping of placements all in a single house. The 10th house could show a family very oriented toward career recognition and celebrity. Recently, a gentleman came to see me. He had his moon in Libra, and he mentioned during the course of the consultation that he had 2 aunts and he had a brother who were born under the sign of Libra, his moon sign. So we can see that these correlations are really, really common, and it just takes a little bit of delving beneath the surface to see how this works. Some years ago, you might remember the scandal about Patty Hearst allegedly being kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army. Well, the horoscope of her grandfather, William Randolph Hearst, he had passed away at this time, showed the whole situation that went on with Patty Hearst, and his horoscope reflected hers profoundly. So we can go back generations because the horoscope continues to live on in the genetics of the descendants. That goes a step further with the astrology of the family tree. Hereditary alcoholism, criminal traits can also be seen, musical ability. All of this lines up within comparing the birth charts of family members. Family members that have a strong fire sign influence, that's Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, will have high standards for personal development and a sense of adventure, leadership, getting a lot done, get angry in a short time, and then bounce back and recover, usually not holding a grudge. Family members that emphasize the earth signs, that's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, will focus on security as interests, maybe a family business, family planning. In my own family, again, I had 2 Taurus grandparents on the other side of the family, and they ran a general store, and they had a Capricorn moon daughter who worked in the store with them. So you can see the interest in business, also gardening, stability, planning ahead. If you have a lot of earth signs in the family, look for those traits. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Social working skills, people-oriented, originality, metaphysics, the sciences can be accented. The water signs of the zodiac, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, mentioned hyper-emotional activity, intuition, mediumistic, domestic, sincere, secretive, elusive, and musical. The next thing we want to look at are family correlations with the 12 houses of the zodiac. The angular houses, 1, 4, 7, and 10, are often emphasized in family charts. Living in the present, the self, home, teamwork, all of that will concern the family. Succedent houses, 2, 5, 8, and 11, accent money, investments, defined goals, and building upon the past. The cadent houses, 3, 6, 9, and 12, families that have those houses accented, often there will be an interest in health, either working in health care or being ill, family illnesses. That's another whole way to look at the horoscope. religion, sacrifice, certain habits and aptitudes tie in together. The astrological family tree is incredibly intriguing to look at, and looking at the basic traits of each of the 12 signs and how they might tie in with rising sign, sun, and moon is the way to start. And then we can go further to look at specific aspects. It helps tremendously to understand how we all came together with the families we have, what the commonalities are. Sometimes the relatives that are the most challenging are the ones the most like us. I'm smiling because I had a lovely lady come in with a teenage son who's a Virgo, and she happens to be a Sagittarian, which clashes with Virgo, but her moon is in Virgo. And on the surface, they don't seem to be alike at all. But she said, that kid is just like me. And of the 3 I have, he's the nuttiest. So I'm smiling because I think you might be listening, family. But at any rate, I always try to preserve everybody's privacy. I share a lot of anecdotes from my practice in the videos that we have here. But on the other hand, I do, just as any counselor who's ethical, try to respect the privacy and honor the very reason that people come to see a reader, and that's for help and to enhance their lives, and that's the purpose and goal behind astrology. This is Dickie Jo Mullen, astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and each morning I have a Facebook post. If you happen to be on Facebook, just put my name in, Dickie Jo Mullen, and 2 different pages will come up with different videos, links to our YouTube channels, and then also an astrological outlook of the day, and who knows, an anecdote about you, and your consultation just might be aired. You could be a star.